Um, Before I start, I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bahal, Bakakodash, Yahweh, which is the one true name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one true name is Yahweh Shai, giving double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, because those are the men who I've learned this truth from through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect. And shalom to you, sincere brothers scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah from the Servants of Yahweh Yahweh Shai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And pretty much this is going to be Genesis 49 breakdown. And Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. And you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the true Hebrew Israelites according to the Bible. And we're going to start in Genesis 49. And let's get to it. This is Genesis 49 and verse 1. This is Genesis 49 and 1. It says, And Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you which shall befall you in the last days. That word befall there, it goes into the Hebrew word bakwaya'ah, which means encounter. And let's get that. All right. When you go into the meaning of that word befall, all right, bakwaya'ah, right? Encounter, befall, meet. All right. And when you go into the meaning right here where it says that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days, you go into the meaning of that word last there. It goes into aquaria aquariath, if I'm saying it right, Salakia, which means later time, prophetic for future time. And that's what it's going into. That's what that's talking about. Future event. This is a future prophecy, which was foretold by Jacob, who is Israel. Verse 2. It says, Gather yourselves together and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. It says Reuben. Reuben is the so-called Seminole Indians today. That's the tribe of Reuben. It says, Thou art my firstborn, my might. It says, and the beginning of my strength. Right, my firstborn. Because Reuben was the firstborn of the son of Jacob. All right. It says, Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power. What is this going into? This is going into the tribe of Reuben. Reuben was the only Native American Indian tribe that wasn't taken down by the U.S. troop. And we're going to prove that. Deuteronomy 33. And we're going to go read down to, here it is right here. This is Deuteronomy 33 and 6. It says, Let Reuben live and not die, and let not his men be few. All right. Now, those U.S. troops, they tried to take down the Seminole Indians. And they tried and tried and tried, and they couldn't. And we're going to prove that because we're going to go into the secular history. And we're going to go into the Seminole Wars. Now, the Seminole Wars took place in Florida, northern Florida. And you had three Seminole Wars. But the main two are the main ones that happened. The main ones that, the U.S. troops tried to take down the Seminole Indians, and they couldn't because they were in the swamps. They were in a swampy area. And they tried and tried and tried, and then it was just like, forget it. We're just going to leave them alone. And, the first Seminole War took place by Andrew Jackson, General Andrew Jackson. Let's read it. This is the Seminole Wars. It says, after the American Revolution of 1776 through 1783, Spain regained control of Florida from Britain as part of the Treaty of Paris. When the British evacuated Florida, Spanish colonies, as well as settlers from the newly formed United States, came pouring in. It says many of these new residents were lured by favorably Spanish terms for acquiring property, called land grants. It says even Seminoles were encouraged to set up farms because they provided a suffering between Spanish Florida and the United States. Escaped slaves also entered Florida, trying to reach a place where the U.S. masters had no authority over them, right? Because them, you had slaves that was in slavery to the U.S. Slavery to the U.S. Salakia. It says instead of becoming more Spanish, Florida increasingly became more American. The First Seminole War. This is the First Seminole War. It took place from 1817 to 1818. All right. The First Seminole War. It says back when Britain controlled Florida, the British often incited Seminoles against American settlers who were migrating south into Seminole territory. These old conflicts combined with the safe haven Seminoles provided black slaves, it says, caused the U.S. Army to attack the tribe in the First Seminole War, which took place from 1817 to 1818, but it's also 1816 to 1818. It says, which took place in Florida and South Georgia. Forces under General Andrew Jackson invaded the Spanish Florida, attacked several key locations, and pushed the Seminoles further south into Florida. It says St. Mark, Florida, if I'm saying it right, Florida, April 1818, two Seminole chiefs, or Marcos, are captured by Jackson's forces, who used their roofs of flying the British flag to lure the Indians to them. And it shows the image of them doing that. It says, finally, after several official, unofficial U.S. military expeditions into the territory, Spain firmly ceded Florida to the United States in 1821, according to terms of Adam Arnis Treaty. As soon as the United States acquired Florida, it began urging the Indians there to leave their lands, relocate along with other southeastern tribes to Indian Territory. It says present day Oklahoma, some Seminoles later signed a treaty in 1832. A part of the tribe moved, but other Seminoles refused to recognize the treaty and fled into Florida. Now, this is the First Seminole Wars, and this is the Second Seminole Wars. Now, I'm not going to read all of this because it's going to make the lesson long, but I'm going to get to the main part. All right? Let's get to the main part. We'll start right here. It says the United States was confident the war would end soon, but it did not. Although the Osceola died in prison in 1838, other Seminole leaders kept the battle going. It says kept the battle going for a few more years. In 1842, a nominal end of the hostilities arrived, though no peace treaty was never signed. By the time most Seminoles had been moved from Florida, relocated, it says Indian Territory, today's war. But if you go up to right here, it says as the hostilities dragged on, frustrated U.S. forces, it says increasingly turned into desperate measures to win the war. For example, Osceola was captured and imprisoned when he met with U.S. troops who had called for a truce and claimed they wanted to talk peace. But it's here. I just want to get to the part where it's at. The second image, I just want to read the part showing you that the U.S. troops lost, and let me see. Here it is, Salakia. I want to read the main point to prove that the Seminole Indians are the only native tribe that wasn't taken down. They were ambushed. Here it is right here, and I should have just got to this part right here. It says a major franchise date marched from Fort Brooke towards Fort King in 180 Seminole wars led by Maconochie, Alligator, and Jumper attacked. Only one man of the army detached survived the ambush. Talk about the U.S. troops. The U.S. troops went there, and they went into the area where they were at, and they couldn't navigate where they're at because it was a swampy area. They got ambushed, and they tried and tried and tried going further down. They tried and tried and tried to conquer, but they couldn't. They just said, forget it, and we'll just leave them alone. But if you read all of this, it goes into that. They tried to take down the Seminole Indians, and they couldn't take them down. They tried and tried and tried, and they couldn't take them down. So that proves that the so-called Seminole Indians today are the tribe of Reuben. They're the only Native American tribe that wasn't taken down by the U.S. troops. Verse 4, it says, unstable as water. It says, thou shalt not exhale, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then defilest thou it. It says, he went up to my couch. All right, so pretty much Reuben, he slept with one of his father's concubines. He broke the commandment. All right, let's read again. It says, unstable as water, thou shalt not exhale, because thou wentest up into thy father's bed. He slept with one of his father's concubines. And when you go to Genesis, I think it's 35 in verse 22, it proves that. Now, Jacob's concubine was Bilhah, and Reuben lied with his father's concubine. Here it is right here. This is Genesis 35 and 22. And it came to pass, when Israel dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lied with Bilhah, his father's concubine. See, he slept with his father's concubine. It says, and Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. So Reuben, he broke his father's commandment, because he lied with his father's concubine. I mean, he broke the Lord's commandment. He lied with one of his father's concubine. He broke the commandment. All right. So Salaki on that. He broke the commandment of the Lord. Let's go back to Genesis 49. So that's pretty much who Reuben is. Reuben is the so-called Seminole Indians. As you can see right there, it says Reuben, Seminole Indians. Reuben is the tribe of Reuben is the so-called Seminole Indians today. That's the tribe of Reuben. This is Genesis 49 and 5. And Salakia for that long thing, but I had to prove that, going into the excellency of power. That's talking about their might, because Reuben was the only Native American tribe that was not taken down by the U.S. troops. Genesis 49 and 5. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Simeon is the so-called Dominicans today. Levi is the so-called Haitians today. It says Reuben and Simeon. It says Simeon and Levi are brethren. All right, and let's show you. They live right next door to each other. You look at Haiti and you look at the Dominican Republic. They're on one island, and that island is called Hispaniola. They're next door to each other. You have Haiti, which is the Haitians, which is the tribe of Levi, and you have the Dominican Republic, which is Simeon, which are the Dominicans. They live on the same island, but they don't like each other. All right, they don't get along. All right, it says Simeon and Levi are brethren. It says, and instruments of cruelty are in their inhabitations, right? Because them damn them damn Haitians. All right, their cruelty is pretty much they go down to Suriname, and they basically kill the people in Suriname. They cut their heads or take their skulls of their heads, and they sell them to the voodoo priests in Haiti. That's what them Haitians be doing, man. That's that cruelty. Verse 6, it says, O my soul, come not thou into their secret. The secret is the voodoo. All right, the Haitians, which are the tribe of Levi, they do a lot of voodoo. They practice a lot of voodoo. They're the Levitical priests in the ancient world. Those Levitical priests, those are actually the Haitians, which is the tribe of Levi. All right, they do a lot of voodoo. Now today they do a lot of voodoo, but they are those the tribe of Levi were those Levitical priests. All right. Verse 6, it says, O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly, mine honor, be not thou united, right? Because Simeon and Levi, all right, Simeon and Levi, the Dominicans, and Levi is the Haitians, they don't get along. They're not united. They hate each other. All right, the Dominicans look down on the Haitians because they're darker than them, so they have a lot of animosity of one another. All right, it says, for in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dug down a wall. What is that going into? It says their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dug down a wall. Well, that's going into when they sister Dana, when she was raped by that Hittite who was a Hamite. Their sister Dana was raped by a Hamite, and we're going to get that right now. I believe it's Deuteronomy. Salakia. This Genesis. it could be Deuteronomy though. Let me go back. Deuteronomy. Choose the wrong one. My fault. I think it's Salakia. Salakia. It's Genesis 34. It's Genesis 34. Genesis 34 and 1. It says, Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor the Havite, and a Havite is a Hamite, all right, they're descendants of the sons of Cain, all right, the descendants of Canaan, the sons of Canaan, all right, the Hamites. It says, and when Shechem, the son of Hamor the Havite, prince of country, saw her, so he saw Dinah. It says he took her and lie with her and defiled her. The defiling was the raping. She was raped by a Hamite. All right. Dinah was. She was raped by a Hamite. Verse 3. And his soul cleaved unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel, and spake kindly unto the damsel. Verse 4. And Shechem spake unto his father Hamor, saying, Get me this damsel to wife. And Jacob heard that he had defiled his daughter. He raped his daughter. The Hamite did. The Hittite, which was Shechem, he raped Jacob's daughter. All right, Dinah. And it says, now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come. Verse 6. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out unto Jacob to commune with him. Verse 7. And the sons of Jacob came out, and it says, and the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it. And it says the men were grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrought folly in Israel in lying with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done. Right? He raped Dinah. Shechem did. All right. And Hamor communed with them, saying, The soul of my son Shechem longeth for your daughter. I pray you give him to wife, and make marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you. And ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell a trade ye therein, and get you possession therein. And Shechem said unto her father, unto her brethren, Let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye shall say unto me I will give. Ask me never so much dowry and gift, and I will give according as ye shall say unto me. But give me the damsel to wife. And this is what Shechem said unto Jacob. He wanted his daughter. Verse 13. And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully, and said, because he had defiled Dinah their sister. So they were all upset because the Hamite named Shechem, he raped Dinah, which was their sister. They were upset about it. But the two brothers that were upset the most out of all of the brothers was Shimeon and Levi. And they have an anger spirit on them. They're the ones you don't want to make angry. All right, the Dominicans and the Haitians, those are the people you don't want to make angry. They will mess you up, man. The Haitians and the Dominicans, you don't ever want to make those people angry. They got an angry spirit on them. They will mess you up, man. Verse 14, it says, and they said unto them, We cannot do this thing to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, meaning he was a heathen. He wasn't an Israelite. So a Hamite, which was a heathen, raped their sister Dinah, who was an Israelite. For it says, for that were a reproach unto us. But in this will we consent unto you, if ye will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised. So they did a thing where they circumcised all the males of the Hittites were supposed to be circumcised, for if they're going to do that. Because, the Israelite men are circumcised, getting their foreskin cut. Verse 6, then will we give our daughters unto you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. Verse 17. But if ye will not hearken unto us to be circumcised, then will we take our daughter, and we will be gone. Verse 18. It says, and their words pleased Hamor and Shechem, Hamar's son, and the young man deferred not to do the thing because he had delight in Jacob's daughter, and he was more honorable than all the house of his fathers. And Hamor and Shechem his son came unto the gate of their city and communed with the men of their city, saying, these men are peaceable with us. Therefore let them dwell in the land and trade therein. For the land, behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters to us for wives, and let us give them our daughters. And this is what Shechem and Hamor said unto their people in their city, the Hivites, the Hivites. Verse 22, it says, only herein will the men consent unto us for to dwell with us, to be one people, if every male among us be circumcised, as they are circumcised. Shall not the cattle in their substance, and every beast of theirs be ours? Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us. Verse 24. And unto Hamor and unto Shechem his son hearken all that went out of the gate of his city, and every male was circumcised, all that went out of the gate of his city. And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore, two of the sons of Jacob, Shimeon and Levi, Dana's brethren, took each man his sword and came upon the city boldly and slew all the males. So they were angry about that. All right. So while they were sore, they just got circumcised. Those Hivites, those Hamites, they were all circumcised. All the males were circumcised in the city. As they were sore on the third day, Shimeon and Levi took it upon themselves to go into the city and to slay all the males in the city. So they slayed all the males in their city, and they took their wives and daughters captive. They took those women and made them their own women. It says, verse 26, and they slew Hamor and Shechem his son with the hedge of the sword, and took Dana out of Shechem's house and went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sisters. So they were angry about that. Shimeon and Levi were angry that Hamite raped their sister. So they took it upon themselves to go into the city and to slay all the males in that city, and took their children and their wives and made them their women. Pretty much took them captive. That's what Shimeon and Levi did. It says they took the sheep and their oxen and their asses, and that which was the city, and that which was in the field, and all of their wealth. They took all of the wealth after they killed all the males in that city. They took all the wealth and all their little ones. They took their children and took their wives. It says, and their wives took they captive. They took their women and made them their own women. It says, and spoiled even all that was in their house. So they took it upon themselves and did all that because of Shechem. He raped their sisters. So they had the anger and put it upon themselves. The Lord put the spirit on them to do that and kill all the males in that city. Verse 30, and Jacob said unto Shimeon and Levi, ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. And they said, should he deal with our sister as a harlot? So they were pissed off with that. So when you go back to Genesis 49 and go down to I went too far down. Go down to right here. So like Genesis 49 and 46, it says, O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly, mine honor be not united. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dug down a wall. And that slew a man, and their self-will they dug down a wall. That's talking about what they did to Shechem. They went into Shechem. Shechem raped their sister, and they took it upon themselves to go into the city and to slay every male in the city. So that anger right there, where it says they slew a man and their self will, they dug down a wall. That's what that was talking about. Shimeon and Levi, they have the spirit of anger upon them. They're the people that you don't want to ever piss off, man. They will jack you up. They will jack you up. Verse 7, it says, "Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel." Right? And that's the curse. It says, "Cursed be their anger." That's their curse, their anger, right? "For it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel." So Shimeon and Levi, they're never going to get along until the Lord come back right now. They're at odds. Israel's pretty much messed up. Um, Verse 8, it says, "Judah, thou art whom thy brethren shall praise." Everyone praises Judah. Everyone imitates Judah. Everyone tries to be like Judah. For example, when you go here, you look at the hip hop era. Everyone always imitates Judah. Judah is the main tribe that everyone follows after. To the fashion, going back to the 80s. When you go back to the 80s, right? Everybody always marvels after Judah. Everyone imitates Judah. Everyone dresses like Judah, be like Judah. Judah is the tribe that everyone follow after. I had to use this as an example going into the hip hop era for an example. Everyone praises Judah. Judah is the so-called Negroes today. Everyone imitates Judah, man. The fashion, right? That always was the thing back in the day, or even to this very day. Everyone always imitates Judah. Judah is the top tribe, man. It says, "Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies." Right? It says, "Thy father's children shall bow down before thee." And this is a future prophecy where it says, "Thy father's children shall bow down before thee." All right, all of us are going to bow down before Judah because Judah is the top tribe. All right, Judah is the so-called Negroes, as you can see up here. So you have Judah, the so-called Negroes. You have Reuben, which is the Seminole Indians, right? Then you have Levi and Shimeon, which is the Haitians and the Dominicans. All right. So Judah is the so-called Negroes today. That's the tribe of Judah. And it says, "Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey, my son, thou art gone up." It says, "He stood down, he crouched as a lion," right? And when it says he stooped down, right, and he crouched as a lion, that's talking about our people. All right, and it's I'm talking about Judah. It says, "And as an old lion," because right now Judah is that old lion. He's getting killed left and right, right? But he's that old lion. But the Lord is going to rise him up. Who shall rise him up? Yahweh Shemashai is going to rise him up, making him that young lion again. And when it goes up to verse 9 and it says, "Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey," that's talking about the prey, is talking about Esau being the prey. Because Judah's going to rise up. Judah got off on Esau before. And when you go into, I think it's First Kings, Salakia, First Kings 11 and 16, 15, 1 Kings 11 and 15, it says, "For it came to pass when David was in Edom, and Joab, the captain of hosts, was gone up to bury the slain after he had smitten every male in Edom." So David and Joab was in the land of Edom for 6 months. And as they were in the land of Edom for 6 months, they slayeth all the males of Edom. They slayeth all the males of Edom. Verse 16, it says, "For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel," it says, "until he had cut off every male in Edom." So Judah got off on Esau before, but Judah's going to be that prey in that time too. He's going to be the prey, and the Lord is going to rise him up. The Lord is going to rise up Judah. Judah's going to rise up, and then Ephraim going to rise up, and then all the other tribes are going to rise up. All right, and I believe the precept for that would be, I think it's Salakia. I could be wrong because this could be going into no, that's going into the Messiah. Um, Thinking about the precept right now, Salakia. Salakia. It's Zechariah 9 and 13. I was getting mixed up with Zechariah 9 and 9 because I'm thinking about the Messiah. This is Zechariah 9 and 13. Salakia. When I have heard bent Judah for me, filled the bowl with Ephraim, and rise up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as the sword of my mighty men. Right. So when Judah rises up, then Ephraim's going to rise up. And when Ephraim rises up, then all the other tribes are going to rise up. They're going to follow after Ephraim. So this is a future prophecy which is going to happen as well. So once Judah rises up, Ephraim rises up, all the other tribes are going to rise up. Right? But, the main point is that the Lord Yahweh Bashimashai is going to rise up Judah, making him that young lion again. It says, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come. Who is Shiloh? Shiloh is talking about Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is Shiloh, the Messiah. It says, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. So under Yahweh Shai is going to be where the gathering of the Israelites is going to be. The Israelites are going to be gathered under Yahweh Shai. Genesis 49:11, it says, biting his fowl onto the vine, and his ass's colt onto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. And this is a prophecy being mentioned of the Messiah riding on that colt, that ass and that colt, which is the baby donkey, which is going into Matthew 21 and reading down to verse 7. All right, and this prophecy right here was given by Zechariah the prophet. This is Matthew 21:1. And when they drew nigh unto Jerusalem and were come to Bethphage unto the Mount of Olives, then sent Yahushua 2 disciples. So Yahushua sent 2 of his disciples, right, to go and get the donkey and the baby donkey. An ass is a donkey and a colt is a baby donkey, saying unto them, go into the village over against you, and straightway ye shall find an ass tied and a colt with her. Loose them and bring unto me. Verse 3, it says, and if any man say aught unto you, ye shall say, the Lord have need of them, and straightway he will send them. Verse 4, all this was done that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, verse 5, tell ye the daughter of Zion, behold, the king come unto thee, make and sitteth upon an ass, and a colt, the foal of an ass. Now this was a prophecy given by Zechariah the prophet. All right, this was a prophecy given by Zechariah the prophet. It says, all this was done that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, see, saying, tell ye the daughter of Zion, behold, the king cometh unto thee, meek and sitting upon an ass, and a colt, the foal of an ass. And this is a prophecy given by Zechariah the prophet. When you go to Zechariah 9 and 9, because that's a prophecy I was reading early, but I was actually meaning to go down to verse 13. So Salakia on that. This is Zechariah 9 and 9. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just, having salvation, lowly and riding upon an ass, and upon a colt of the foal of an ass. And this is a prophecy given by Zechariah the prophet of the Messiah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his true name is Yahushua. So this is a prophecy given by Zechariah the prophet, giving a prophecy of the Messiah riding on the ass and with a baby donkey, right? Verse 6, it says, and the disciples went and did as Yahushua commanded them. Verse 7, and brought the ass and the colt. The ass is a donkey and a colt is a baby donkey, and put on them their clothes, and they set him thereon. So there you go. This is a prophecy of the Lord Yahushua. All right, and that's what this is going into when you go down to right here, going into verse 11. This was a prophecy talking about the Messiah. Verse 2, it says, his eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. And this is a description of the Messiah. The Messiah, he was a wine bibber. And let me look up what a wine bibber is for those of you that don't know. And we're going to get that out. right? Because the Messiah drank a lot of wine, a wine bibber, right? Let's get that wine bibber, right? An habitual or heavy drinker of alcohol, especially wine, an excessive wine drinker, a drink. The Messiah's eyes was red because he drank a lot of wine. The scriptures even mention him changing the water into wine. The Messiah drank a lot of wine. All right, his eyes shall be red with wine because he drank a lot of wine. He was a wine bibber. It says, and his teeth white with milk. Now the teeth white with milk is not talking about his actual teeth being white. This is talking about the sincere milk of the word, which we can prove that going into First Peter, I believe it's 1 and I think it's Second Peter. I always get mixed up with that. Yeah, Second Peter. I think it's 2 and 2. First Peter 2 and 2. Salakia. It gets me. First Peter 2 and 2. Salakia. I always get caught up with the Peter, so Salakia. First Peter 2 and 2. It says, as newborn babes, it says, desire the sincere milk of the word. See, the sincere milk of the word. As newborn babes, desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. So that's what the teeth being white with milk represents. That's talking about the word. The word is written of Yahushai, Psalms 40:7, and also Ephesians 5:26. All right, also Hebrews 10:7. All right, the sincere milk of the word. That's talking about the word. His teeth, it says in his teeth white with milk. That's meaning the word. All right, the truth. It says Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships. And Zebulun is the so-called Guatemalans to Panamanians. All right, that's Zebulun. Zebulun today is the so-called Guatemalans to Panamanians. And when you look up the Panama Canal, right, the Panama Canal, all right, this is the Panama Canal. You have ships that go through there, all right, from I think it's, I'll read it from here though, because I don't want to butcher it, but they go from North America to South America. You have the ships that go through the Panama Canal. So again, the tribe of Zebulun today is the so-called Guatemalans to Panamanians. It says Panama Canal is an artificial 82 km waterway in Panama that connects to the Atlantic Ocean with the Pacific Ocean and divides the north to the south. The canal cuts across the isthmus of Panama and is a conduit for a maritime trade, right? Because you have the ships that go through there from the Atlantic Ocean, right, to the Pacific Ocean. The Panama Canal goes in between. It's a border that's in between there, and the ships go through there. So, all right, that's the Panama Canal. So, I just wanted to bring that out. But Zebulun is the Guatemalans to Panamanians today. That's the tribe of Zebulun. It says, and shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. So there you go. So Zebulun is the so-called Guatemalans to Panamanians. Issachar is a strong ass coaching down between two burdens. Issachar is the so-called Hispanics today. That's the tribe of Issachar. Issachar is the so-called Hispanics, as you can see at the bottom. That's the tribe of Issachar, the so-called Hispanics. All right. It says Issachar is a strong ass coaching down between two burdens, and two burdens is South America and North America. Those are the two. That's what it's talking about. They in South America to North America. Those are the two burdens. That's what that represents. South America to North America. All right. Verse 15. It says, and he saw the rest was good, and the land that was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. Right? And Issachar, they have the spirit of working. They work a lot. All right, they could do 3, 4, 5 jobs. Issachar, that's just the spirit that the Lord gave them. Issachar, so-called Hispanics, they love to work. Labor and working is just what they do. It's in them, man. That's just their spirit. They can work 3, 4, 5 jobs. Issachar love to work. That's who Issachar is. So Issachar is the so-called Hispanics today. That's the tribe of Issachar. All right. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Now Dan is pretty much mixed into Israel. So we don't know who Dan is today. Dan is pretty much mixed all into Israel. And through the Spirit, Dan is all in Israel, all up in the 12 tribes of Israel. They're mixed into Israel, pretty much. Verse 17, it says, Dan shall be a serpent by the way, and adder in the path, that biteth the horse heel, that bites the horse heels, so that his rider shall fall backward. Verse 18, I have waited for thy salvation, O Lord. It says, Gad, a troop shall overcome him. Now the tribe of Gad is the so-called North American Indians today. The Native American Indians today is the tribe of Gad. All right, yes, the tribe of Gad is the Seminole Indians. And, the tribe of Gad is the so-called Native American Indians. Salakia. All right, and when you go into Indian wars, you can look this up too. It goes into all the wars that took place. You had the Colonial period Indian wars. You had the Trail of Tears. You had the King Philip wars, Queen Anne wars, the French and Indian wars, the early American wars. You had the 19th century wars, the Seminole wars, the Sand Creek Massacre, right? The Battle of the Bighorn, the Wounded Knee, and other sources. You also had the Trail of Tears. The Trail of Tears ain't mentioned on here, but you also had the Trail of Tears. All right. So you had all these wars that took place, and you could look up. See, you could look up these wars right here. There's so many wars that you can look up. I'm not going to read this. If you want to look into Indian wars, you're more than welcome to. But this is basically to prove that the so-called Native American Indians are of the tribe of Gad. All right, that's the Native American Indians today. The tribe of Gad is the Native American Indians. All right, so you had all these wars that took place. You also had the Trail of Tears that took place. Wounded Knee was one of the, horrifying tragic times ever, man. The Trail of Tears, Wounded Knee, all of them Indian wars was horrible, but the Trail of Tears and Wounded Knee was very, very, very severe. And I know that because I'm of the tribe of Gad. But, Gad is so-called Native American Indians today. That's the tribe of Gad. All right? And I had to share that, try not to have this too long of a lesson. But let's get back to the scriptures. Salaki on that. So Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Gad is going to overcome at the last. All right, we were taken down by the U.S. troops, but we're going to overcome at the last. All right, and Gad is the so-called North American Indians, the Native American Indians. That's the tribe of Gad. It says, out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield world dainties. And the dainties is the jewelry. They have a lot of beautiful jewelry. They also have the oil mines over there. They have jewelry of silver, copper, things of that nature. That's the dainties. All right, and Asher is the so-called Colombians to Ugaranians. All right, that's the tribe of Asher today. That's the tribe of Asher. Naphtali is a hind let loose. He giveth goodly words. All right, they're very peaceful people. All right, they have a very peaceful spirit. The tribe of Naphtali, and the tribe of Naphtali is the Argentinians and of Chile. All right, that's who Naphtali is. To prove that, see the Argentinians and the Chileans. All right, that's the tribe of Naphtali, and they're very peaceful people, very good people, man. Verse 22, it says, Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well whose branches run over the wall. And the tribe of Joseph is the so-called Puerto Ricans. And you also have the tribe of Manasseh, which is also of the 12 tribes of Israel. You have Manasseh, and you have Ephraim and Manasseh. All right, those are the sons of Joseph. All right, which Manasseh is the so-called Cubans today. As you can see up here, you see Manasseh and Ephraim. They both come from the line of Joseph. You have Manasseh, which is the Cubans, and you have Ephraim, which is the Puerto Ricans today. All right, and we can back that up, proving that when we go to Genesis 48. Let's read verse 1. And this is what this is when Joseph went to go see his father Jacob, meeting his two sons, Israel's last days. And it came to pass after these things that one told Joseph, Behold, thy father is sick. And he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Verse 2. And one told Jacob and said, Behold, thy son Joseph cometh unto thee. And Israel strengthened himself and sat upon the bed. So Joseph brought his two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh and Ephraim, to see Jacob. All right. Verse 3, and it says, Jacob said unto Joseph, power almighty, appeared unto me and Luz in the land of Canaan, right? And blessed me, verse 4, and said unto me, behold, I will make thee fruitful and multiply thee. I will make thee of a multitude of people, and will give this land to thy seed after thee for an everlasting possession. Verse 5, and now thy two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, the so-called Cubans today and the Puerto Ricans, are of the sons of Jacob. But Manasseh and Ephraim are the sons of Joseph, but Jacob took Joseph's sons and claimed them as his own sons, adopted Joseph's sons and claimed them as his own sons. They became of the tribe of Israel. They are actually Israelites anyway because their father was an Israelite. Joseph was their father. And now thy two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee in the land of Egypt, right? Because Joseph's woman was a Hamite. Joseph's wife was a Hamite. But his sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, they were Israelites because your nationality is determined from the seed line of your father. Numbers 1 and 18. So Manasseh and Ephraim, yeah, they were born in Egypt. Yes, their mother was a Hamite, but Joseph, he was an Israelite. So his sons are of Israelite descent. Your mother doesn't determine your nationality, your father do. It says, unto thee in the land of Egypt, before I came unto thee into Egypt, are mine, as Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. So Jacob adopted Joseph's sons, claiming them as his own children. That makes up the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. So you have Ephraim and Manasseh, which Ephraim is the so-called Puerto Ricans today. That's the tribe of Ephraim. That's the tribe of Joseph. Manasseh is also of the seed line of Joseph, which is the tribe of Manasseh, which are the Cubans today. All right, that's those are also that make up the 12 tribes of Israel. So you got Joseph, and you got Joseph, which is Ephraim, right? So the tribe of Joseph is the Puerto Ricans today, which is Ephraim, and you have Manasseh, which is also Joseph's son, who is the Cubans today. So the Puerto Ricans and the Cubans are of the tribe of Ephraim and Manasseh, which were Joseph's sons, which make up the 12 tribes of Israel. Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well whose branches run over a wall. The archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him. But his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty power of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, even by the power of thy father, who shall help thee, right? And by the Almighty, who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of the breast and of the womb. Verse 26, and it says, the blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors unto the uttermost bonds of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separated from his brethren, right? Because his brothers sold him into slavery, right? He was in Egypt. He winded up becoming governor. He was a slave. And then the Lord ordained Joseph to wind up being governor of Egypt, right? The Lord set that up. Verse 27, it says Benjamin. Now that's the tribe of Joseph. Joseph is the so-called Puerto Ricans today. And also you have Manasseh, which is also of the line of Joseph, which is the so-called Cubans. All right. Verse 26, the blessings of thy father. Salakia. Verse 27, Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoiler. And the tribe of Benjamin is the so-called West Indians, which are the Jamaicans today. That's the tribe of Benjamin. But you also have Trinidad, Belize. You also have those individuals that's also of the line of Benjamin. All right. You also have the line of Benjamin. There's many more, but those are the three that I'm just naming off the top for this video. You have the Jamaicans, you have Trinidad, and you also have Belize. They're of the tribe of Benjamin. You also have The other ones, I'm not gonna name all of them. There's too many to them to put. But I'm just gonna name those three. Those are the tribe of Benjamin today. That's who the tribe of Benjamin is. Verse 28, it says, all these are the 12 tribes of Israel. So these are the 12 sons of Jacob, and we descend from the 12 tribes of Israel. So this is why, again, when we say Hebrew Israelites, we're not just talking about Negroes. No, not all the Israelites are only Negro descent. You have these nations here: the Negroes, West Indians, Haitians, Dominicans, Guatemalans, the Panamanians, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, North American Indians, Seminole Indians, the Argentinians, the Chileans, the Colombians, and the Uranians, and the Hispanics, the Mexicans. These are the tribes of Israel, the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel that is scattered abroad throughout the earth. So when we say we're Israelites, we're not just talking about black people, so-called black people, because we're not black. We're different shades of brown. We're talking about the Israelites. These people that you see on there are the 12, consist of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, and they're scattered abroad. All right, so this isn't about being black. This ain't a black power thing. That's why we hate it when you guys throw, black Hebrew Israelites, because we're not black. We're different shades of brown, and we're scattered abroad. We come in very, 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 very light to a very, 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 very dark skin tone. Your skin tone doesn't determine your nationality. Your father determines your nationality. It doesn't matter about your skin tone, you know. Verse 28, all of these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is that their father spake unto them and blessed them, everyone according to his blessing he blessed them. Verse 29, he charged them and said unto them, I am to be together unto my people. And this is pretty much going into what Jacob acquired for his sons to do for him, because he was already due to pass away. And this is pretty much Jacob telling his sons where he wants to be placed, where he wants to be buried. Verse 29, and he charged them and said unto them, I am to be gathered unto my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite. Verse 30, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephron the Hittite for a possession of a burying place. Verse 31, there they buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rebekah his wife, and there I buried Leah. The purchase of the field and of the cave that is therein was from the children of Heth. Verse 33, and when Jacob had made an end of commanding his sons, he gathered up his feet onto the bed and yielded up the ghost. So Jacob passed away. Israel passed away. All right. And was gathered unto his people. So pretty much that's Genesis 49. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Yahweh Kakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who woo well, teach well. Those are the men who I learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Shai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect. And shalom to you, sincere brothers scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah from the servants of Yahweh Yahweh Shai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Till next time I say, shalom.